Okay, I'm going to go ahead and carry on and start again in the middle of 260. I'm going to see if we can knock this out and finish this chapter. Chapter 2, and then chapter 3 is going to be The Ring Goes South of the Two Towers, book 2 of the trilogy of the Lord of the Rings, written by JRR Tolkien. So let's go ahead and let's get started here. 260. They took me, and they set me alone on the pinnacle of Orthnot, in the place where Saruman was accustomed to watch the stars. There is no descent save by a narrow stair of many thousand steps, and the valley below seems far away. I looked on it and saw that, whereas it had once been green and fair, it was now filled with pits and forges. Wolves and orcs were housed in Isengard, for Saruman was mustering a great force on his own account, in rivalry of Sauron and not in his service yet. Over all his works, a dark smoke hung and wrapped itself about the sides of Orthanc. I stood alone on an island in the clouds, and I had no chance of escape, and my days were bitter. I was pierced with cold, and I had but little room in which to pace to and fro, rooting on the coming of the riders to the north. That the Nine had indeed arisen, I felt assured. Apart from the words of Saruman, which might be lies. Long eerie, I came to Isengard. I had heard tidings by the way that could not be mistaken. There was ever in my heart for my friends in the Shire, but still I had some hope. I hoped that Frodo had set forth at once, as my letter had urged, and that he had reached Rivendell before the deadly pursuit began. And both my fear and my hope proved ill-founded, for my hope was founded on a fat man in Bray, and my fear was rounded on the cunning of Sauron. But fat men who sell ale have many calls to answer, and the power of Sauron is still less than fear makes it. But in the circle of Isengard, trapped and alone, it was not easy to think that the hunters before whom all have fled or fallen would falter in the Shire far away. I saw you, cried Frodo. You were walking backwards and forwards. The moon shone in your hair. Gandalf paused astonished and looked at him. It was only a dream, said Frodo, but it suddenly came back to me. I had quite forgotten it. It came some time ago, after I left the Shire, I think. Then it was late in coming, said Gandalf. As you will see, I was in an evil plight, and those who know me will agree that I have seldom been in such need, and do not bear such misfortune well. Gandalf the Grey, caught like a fly in a spider's treacherous web. Yet even the most subtle spiders may leave a weak thread. At first I feared, as Saruman no doubt intended, that Radagast had also fallen. Yet I had caught no hint of anything wrong in his voice or in his eye at our meeting. If I had, I should never have gone to Isengard, or I should have gone more warily. So Saruman guessed, and he had concealed his mind and deceived his messenger. It would have been useless in any case to try and win over the honest Rondagas. The treachery. He saw me in good faith and so persuaded me. That was the undoing of Saruman's plot. For Rondagas knew no reason why he should not do as I asked. And he rode away towards Mirkwood, where he had many friends of old. And the eagles of the mountains went far and wide, and they saw many things. The gathering of wolves and the mustering of orcs, and the 9 riders going hither and thither in the lands. And they heard news of the escape of Gollum, and they sent a messenger to bring these tidings to me. So it was that when summer waned, there came a night of moon, and Gwahir and the Wind Lord, swiftest of the great eagles, came unlooked for to Orthnach, and he found me standing on the pinnacle. Then I spoke to him, and he bore me away before Saruman was aware. I was far from Isengard ere the wolves and orcs issued from the gate to pursue me. How far can you bear me? I said to Warrior. Many leagues, said he, but not to the ends of the earth. I was sent to bear tidings, not burdens. Then I must have a steed on land, I said, and a steed surpassing swift, for I have never had such need of haste before. Then I will bear you to Edoras, where the Lord of Rohan sits in his halls, he said, for that is not very far off. And I was glad, for in the render mark of Rohan the horse lords dwell, and there are no horses like those that are bred in that great vale between the misty mountains and the white. Are the men of Rohan still to be trusted? Do you think? I said to Warrior, for the treason of Saruman had shaken my faith. They pay a tribute of horses, he answered, and send many yearly to Mordor, or so it is said. But they are not yet under the yoke. But if Saruman has become evil, as you say, then their doom cannot be long delayed. He sent me down in the land of Rohan ere long, and now I have lengthened my tale over long. The rest must be more brief. In Rohan, I found evil ready at work. The lies of Saruman and the king of the land would not listen to my warnings. He bade me to take a horse and be gone, and I chose one much to my liking, but little to his. I took the best horse in his land, and I have never seen the like of him. Then he must be a noble beast indeed, said Aragorn, and it grieves me more than many tidings that it might seem worse to learn that Sauron levies such tribute. It was not so when last I was in that land, nor is it now, I will swear, said Boromir. It is a lie that comes from the enemy. I know the men of Rohan, true and valiant, our allies, dwelling still in the lands that we gave them long ago. The shadow of Mordor lies on distant lands, answered Aragorn. Saruman has fallen under it. Rohan is beset. Who knows what you will find there if you ever return? Not this at least, said Boromir, that they will buy their lives with horses. They love their horses next to their kin, but not without reason. For the horses of the Rittermark come from the fields of the north, far from the shadow, and their race, as that of their masters, is descended from the free days of old. True indeed, said Gandalf, and there is one among them that might have fallen in the morning of the world. The horses of the Nine cannot vie with him. Tireless, swift as the flowing wind, Shadowfax they call him. By day his coat glistens like silver, and by night it is like shade, and he passes unseen. Light is his footfall. Never before had any man mounted him, but I took him and tamed him, and so speedily he bore me that I reached the Shire when Frodo was on the Barrow Downs, though I set out from Rohan only when he set out from Hobbiton. But fear grew in me as I rode. Ever as I came north, I heard tidings of the riders, and though I gained on them day by day, they were ever before me. They had divided their forces, I learned. Some remained on the eastern borders, not far from the greenways, and some invaded. But I had words with old Genghis, many words and few to the point. He had much to say about the shortcomings of the new owners of the Bag End. I can't abide changes, said he. Not at my time of life, and least of all changes for the worse. Changes for the worse, he repeated many times. Worse is a bad word, I said to him, and I hope you do not live to see it. But amidst this talk, I gathered at last that Frodo had left Hobbiton less than a week before, and that a black horseman had come to the hill the same evening. Then he rode on in fear. I came to Buckland and found it in uproar, as busy as a hive of ants that has been stirred with a stick. I came to the house of Prick Hollow, and it was broken open and empty. But on the threshold there lay a cloak that had been Frodo's. Then for a while hope left me, and I did not wait to gather news, or I might have been comforted. But I rode on the trail of the riders. It was hard to follow, for it went many ways, and I was at a loss. But it seemed to me that one or two had ridden towards Bray, and that way I went, for I thought of words that might be said to the innkeeper. Butterbur, they call him, thought I. If this delay was his fault, I will melt all the butter in him. I will roast the old fool over a slow fire. He expected no less, and when he saw my face, he fell down flat and began to melt on the spot. What did you do to him? Cried Frodo in alarm. He was really very kind to us and did all that he could. Gandalf laughed. Don't be afraid, he said. I did not bite and I barked very little. So overjoyed was I by the news that I got out of him when he stopped quaking. That I embraced the old fellow. How it had happened, I could not then guess, but I learned that you had been in Bray the night before and had gone off that morning with Strider. Strider! I cried, shouting for joy. Yes, sir, I am afraid so, sir, said Butterburn, mistaking me. He got at them in spite of what that I could do, and they took up with him. Well, they behaved very queer all the time they were here. Willful, you might say, assful, thrice worthy and beloved Barleyman, and said I. It's the best news I have had since midsummer. It's worth a gold piece at a least. May your beard be laid under your enchantment of surpassing excellence for 7 years, said I. Now I can take a night's rest, the first since I had forgotten when. So I stayed there that night, wondering much what had become of the riders. For only of two had there yet been any news of Bray, it seemed, but in the night we heard more. Five at least came from the west, and they threw down the gates and passed through Bray like a howling wind. And the Bray folk are still and expecting the end of the world. I got up before dawn and went after them. I do not know, but it seems clear to me that this is what happened. The captain remained in secret away south of Bray, while two rode ahead through the village, and four more invaded the Shire. But when these were foiled in Bray and at Creek Hollow, they returned to their captain with tidings, and so left the road unguarded for a while, except by their spies. The captain then sent some eastward straight across country, and he himself with the rest rode along the road in great wrath. I galloped to Weathertop like a gale, and I reached it before sundown on my second day from Bray, and they were there before me. They drew away from me where they felt the coming of my anger, and they dare not face it while the sun was in the sky. But they closed round at night, and I was besieged on the hilltop. In the old ring of Amansul, I was hard to put it indeed. Such light and flame cannot have been seen on Weathertop since the war beacons of old. At sunrise, I escaped and fled towards the north. I could not hope to do more. It was impossible to find you, Frodo, in the wilderness, and it would have been folly to try all the night at my heels. So I had to trust to Aragorn, but I hoped to draw some of them off and yet reach Rivendell ahead of you and send out help. 4 riders did indeed follow me, but they turned back after a while and made for the fort, it seems. That helped a little, for there were only 5, not 9, when your camp was attacked. I reached here at last by a long, hard road up the Horwell and through the Ettenmoors and down the north. It took me nearly 15 days from Weathertop, for I could not ride among the rocks of the Trollfells and Shadowfax departed. I sent him back to his master, but a great friendship has grown between us, If I have need, you will come at my call. But it was that I came to Rivendell only 2 days before the ring and the news of its pearl had already been brought here, which proved well indeed. At that and that, Frodo is the end of, and that is, and that Frodo is the end of my account. May Elrond and the others forgive the length of it, but such a thing has not happened before. That Gandalf wrote Triss and did not come when he promised. An account to the ring bearer of so strange an event was required, I think. Well, the tale is now told, from first to last. Here we all are, and here's the ring. But we have not yet come any nearer to our purpose. What shall we do with it? There was a silence. At last, Elrond spoke again. There was a silence. At last, Elrond spoke again. This is grievous news concerning Saruman, he said. For we trusted him, and he is deep in all our counsels. It is perilous to study too deeply the arts of the enemy, for good or for ill. But such falls and betrayals, alas, have happened before. Of the tales that we have heard this day, the tale of Frodo was most strange to me. I have known few hobbits, say Bilbo here, and it seems to me that he is perhaps not so lone and singular as I had thought him. The world has changed much since I last was on the westward roads. The Barrow Wights we know by many names, and of the old forest many tales have been told. All that now remains is but an out and of the old forest many tales have been told, and all that now remains is but an outlier of its northern march. Time was when a squirrel could go from tree to tree from what is now the Shire to Dunland, west of Isengard. In those lands I journeyed once, and many things wild and strange I knew, but I have forgotten Bombadil. If indeed this is still the same that walked the woods and hills long ago, and even then was older than the oak. That was not then his name. It was Erwan Ben Adar. We called him oldest and fatherless. But many another name he has since been given by other folk, formed by the dwarves, or rod by northern men, and other names beside. He is a strange creature, but maybe I should have summoned him to our council. He would not have come, said Gandalf. Could we not still send messages to him and obtain his help? Asked Eristor. It seems that he has a power even over the ring. No, I should not put it so, said Gandalf. Say rather that the ring has no power over him. He is his own master, but cannot alter the ring itself, nor break its power over others. And now he is withdrawn into a little land within bounds that he has set, though none could see them, waiting perhaps for a change of days, and he will not step beyond them. But within those bounds, nothing seems to dismay him and Aristor. We would he not take the ring and keep it there forever harmless? No, said Gandalf, not willingly. He might do so, if all the free folk of the world begged him. But he would not understand the need, and if we were given the ring, he would soon forget it, or most likely throw it away. Such things have no hold on his mind. He would be a most unsafe guardian, and that alone is answer enough. But in any case, said Glorfindel, to send the ring to him would only postpone the day of evil. He is far away. He could not now take it back to him, unguessed, unmarked by any spy. And even if we could, soon or late the Lord of the Rings could learn of its hiding place and would bend all his power towards it. Could that power be defied by Bombadil alone? I think not. I think that in the end, if all else is conquered, Bombadil will fall. Last as he was first, and then night will come. I know little of Arwen, save the name, said Galdor. But Glorfindel, I think, is right. Power to defy our enemy is not in him unless such power is in the earth itself. And yet, we see that Sauron could torture and destroy the very hills. What power still remains lies with us here in Elmordus, are with Sauron at the havens, are in Lorien. But have they the strength? Have we here the strength to withstand the enemy? The coming of Sauron at the last, when all else is overthrown. I have not the strength, said Elrond. Neither have they. Then, if the ring cannot be kept from them forever by strength, said Glorfindel, two things only remain for us to attempt to send it over the sea or to destroy it. But Gandalf has revealed to us that we cannot destroy it by any craft that we here possess, said Elrond. And they who dwell beyond the sea would not receive it. For good or ill, it belongs to Middle Earth. It is for us who still dwell here to deal with it. Then, said Glorfindel, let us cast it into the deeps, and so make the lies of Saruman come true. For it is clear now that even at the council, his feet were already on a crooked path. He knew that the ring was not lost forever, but wished us to think so, for he began to lust for himself. Yet often lies truth is hidden. In the sea it would be safe, not safe forever, said Gandalf. There are many things in the deep waters, and the seas and lands may change. And it is not our part here to take thought only for a season or for a few lives of men or for a passing age of the world. We should not seek a final end of this menace, even if we do not hope to make one. And that we shall not find on the roads to the sea, said Gandor. And if the return to Arwen We thought too dangerous then. Flight to the sea is now fraught with gravest peril. My heart tells me that Sauron will expect us to take the western way. When he learns what has befallen, he soon will. The nine have been unhorsed indeed, but that is but a respite ere they find new steeds and swifter. Only the waning light of Gondor stands between him and a march on in power along the coast into the north. And if he comes, assailing the white towers and the havens, hereafter the elves may have no escape from the lengthened shadows of Middle Earth. Long yet will that march be delayed, said Boromir. Gondor wanes, you said, but Gondor stands, and even the end of its strength is still very strong. And yet its vigilance can no longer keep back the nine, said Caldor, and the other roads he may find that Gondor does not guard. Then, said Aristor, there are but two courses, but as Glorfindel already has declared, to hide the ring forever or to unmake it, but both are beyond our power. Who will read this riddle for us? None here can do so, said Elrond gravely. At least none can foretell what will come to pass if we take this road or that. But it seems to me now clear which is the road that we must take. The westward road seems easiest. Therefore, it must be shunned. It will be watched. Too often the elves have fled that way. Now, at last, we must take a hard road, a road unforeseen. There lies our hope. If hope it be, to walk into peril, to Mordor. We must send the ring to the fire. Silence fell again. Frodo, even in that fair house, looking out upon a sunlit valley filled with the noise of clear waters, felt a dead darkness in his heart. Boromir stirred, and Frodo looked at him. He was fingering his great horn and frowning. At length he spoke. I do not understand all this, he said. Saruman is a traitor, but didn't he not have a glimpse of wisdom? Why do you speak ever of hiding and destroying? Why should we not think that the great ring has come into our hands to serve us in the very hour of need? Wielding it, the free lords of the free may surely defeat the enemy. That is what he most fears, I deem. The men of Gondor are valiant, and they will never submit, but they may be beaten down. Valor needs first strength and then a weapon. Let the ring be your weapon. If it has such power as you say, take it and go forth to victory. Alas, no, said Elrond. We cannot use the ruling ring that we now know too well. It belongs to Sauron and was made by him alone and is altogether evil. Its strength, Boromir, is too great for anyone to wield at will, save only those who have already a great power of their own. But for them it holds an even deadlier peril. The very desire of it corrupts the heart. Consider Saruman. If any of the wise should, with, with this ring, overthrow the Lord of Mordor, using his own arts, he would then set himself on Sauron's throne. And yet another Dark Lord would appear. And it is another reason why the ring should be destroyed. As long as it is in the world, it will be a danger, even to the wise. For nothing is evil in the beginning. Even Sauron was not so. I fear to take the ring to hide it. I will not take the ring to wield it. Nor I, said Gandalf. Boromir looked at them doubtfully, but he bowed his head. So be it, he said. Then in Gondor, we must trust to such weapons as we have. And at the least, while the wise ones guard this ring, we will fight on. Mayhap the sword that was broken may still stem the tide, if the hand that wields it has inherited not an heirloom only, but the sinews of the kings of men. Who can tell, said Aragorn. But we will put it to the test one day. May the day not be so too long delayed, said Boromir. For though I do not ask for aid, we need it. It would comfort us to know that others also, with all the means that they have. Then be comforted, said Elrond, for there are other powers and rooms that ye know not, and they are hidden from you. Anduin, the great flows past many shores. In Erie, it comes to Erwinoth and the gates of Gondor. Still, it might be well for all, said glowing the dwarf, if all these strengths were joined and the powers of each were used in league. Other rings there may be, less treacherous, that might be used in our need. The seven are lost to us. If Balin has not found the ring of Dorer, which was the last, not has been heard of it since Dorer perished in Moria. Was a Moria. Indeed, I may now reveal that it was partly in hope that to find that ring that Balin went away. Balin will find no ring in Moria, said Gandalf. War gave it to Ron, his son, but not Thrawn to Thorin. It was taken from torment with Ron in the dungeons of Dol Guldur. I came too late. Ah, alas, cried Gollum, when will the day come of our revenge? But still, there are the three. What of the three rings of the elves? Very mighty rings, it is said, but not the elf lords keep. Do not the elf lords keep them? Yet they too were made by the Dark Lord long ago. Are they idle? I see elf lords here. Will they not say? The elves returned no answer. Did you not hear me, Gollum? Said Elrond. The three were not made by Sauron, nor did he ever touch them. But of them it is not permitted to speak. So much only in this hour of doubt I may say. They are not idle. but they were not made as weapons of war or conquest. That is not their power. Those who made them did not desire strength or domination or hoarded wealth, but understanding, making, and healing to preserve all things unstained. These things of the elves of Middle Earth, have in some measure gained, though with sorrow, but all that has been wrought by those who wield the ring will turn to their undoing, and their minds and hearts will become revealed to Sauron if he regains the one. It would be better if the three had never been. That is his purpose. But what then would happen if the ruling ring were destroyed, as you counsel, asked Owen? We know not for certain, answered Elrond sadly. Some hope that the three rings, which Sauron has never touched, will then become free, and their rulers might heal the hurts of the world that he has wrought. But maybe when the one has gone, the three will fail, and many fair things will fade and be forgotten. That is my belief. Yet all the elves are willing to endure this chance of Glorfindel, if by it the power of Sauron may be broken, and the fear of his dominion be taken away forever. Thus we return once more to the destroying of the ring, said Eristor. And yet we come no nearer. What strength have we for the fighting of the fire in which it is made? That is the path of despair, of folly, I would say, if the long wisdom of Elrond did not forbid me. Despair or folly, said Gandalf. It is not despair, for despair is only for those who see the end beyond all doubt. We do not. It is wisdom to recognize necessity, but all other courses have been waived, though as folly it may appear to those who cling to false hope. Well, let folly be our cloak, a veil before the eyes of the enemy, for he is very wise and weighs all things to the nicety of scales of his malice. But the only measure that he knows is desire, and desire is desire for power. And so he judges all hearts. Into his heart the thought will not enter that any will refuse it, that having the ring we may seek to destroy it. If we seek this, we shall put him out of reckoning, at least for a while, said Elrond. The road must be trod, but it will be very hard, and neither strength nor wisdom will carry us far upon it. This quest may be attempted by the weak with as much hope as the strong, yet such is oft the course of deeds that move the wheels of the world. Small hands do them because they must, while the eyes of the great are elsewhere. Very well, Master Elrond, said Bilbo suddenly. Say no more. It is plain enough what you are pointing at. Bilbo, the silly hobbit, started this affair, and Bilbo had better finish it himself. I was very comfortable here, and getting on with my book. If you want to know, I am just writing an ending for it. And I had thought of putting an He lived happily ever afterwards to the end of his days. It is a good ending, and none of the words for having been used before. Now, I shall have to alter that. It does not look like coming true. And anyway, there will evidently have to be several more chapters if I live to write them. It is a frightful nuisance. When ought I to start? Boromir looked in surprise at Bilbo, but the laughter died on his lips when he saw that all the others regarded the old hobbit with grave respect. Only Glowin smiled, but his smile came from old memories. Of course, my dear Bilbo, said Gandalf. If you had already if you had really started this affair, you might be expected to finish it. But you know well enough now that starting is too great a claim for any, and that only a small part is played in great deeds by any hero. You need not bow, though the word was meant, and we do not doubt that under jest you are making a valiant offer, but one beyond your strength, Bilbo. You cannot take this thing back. It has passed on. If you need my advice any longer, I should say that your part is ended. Unless, as a recorder, finish your book and leave the ending unaltered. There is still hope for it, but we ready to write a sequel when they come back. Bilbo laughed. I have never known you give a pleasant advice before, he said, as all your unpleasant advice has been good. I wonder if this advice is not bad. Still, don't suppose I have the strength or luck left to deal with the rain. It has grown, and I have not. But tell me, what do you mean by they? The messengers who are sent with the rain. Exactly. And who are they to be? That seems to me what this council has to decide, and all that it has to decide. Elves may thrive on speech alone, and dwarves endure great weariness. But I am only an old hobbit, and I miss my meal at noon. Can't we think of some names now? Or put it off till after dinner? No one answered. The noon bell rang. Still no one spoke. Frodo glanced at all the faces, but they were not turned to him. All the council sat with downcast eyes, as if in deep thought. A great dread fell on him, as if he was awaiting the pronouncement of some doom that he had long foreseen, and vainly hoped might, after all, never be spoken. An overwhelming longing to rest and remain at peace by Bilbo's side in Rivendell filled all his heart. At last, with an effort, he spoke and wanted to hear his own words, as if other will was using his small voice. I will take the ring, he said, though I do not know the way. Elrod raised his eyes and looked at him, and Frodo felt his heart pierced by the sudden keenness of the glance. If I understand aright all that I have heard, he said, I think that this task is appointed for you, Frodo, and that not find a way, no one will. This is the hour of the Shire folk, when they arise from their quiet fields to shake the towers and councils of the great, who of all the wise could have foreseen it, or if they are wise, why should they expect to know it until the hour was struck? But it is a heavy burden, so heavy that none could lay it on another. I do not lay it on you, but if you take it freely, I will say that your choice is right. And though all the mighty Elfrins of old, Hador and Hurin and Baron himself were assembled together, your seat should be among them. But you won't send him off alone, surely, master, cried Sam, and unable to contain himself any longer, and jumping from the corner where he had been quietly sitting on the floor. No, indeed, said Elrond, turning towards him with a smile. You, at least, should go with him. It is hardly possible to separate you from, from him, even when he is summoned to a secret council and you are not. Sam sat down, blushing and muttering. A nice pickle we have landed ourselves in, Mr. Frodo, he said, shaking his head. Okay, guys, that is the end of chapter 2, the Council of Elrond. So there's a lot of information in there in that chapter. That is background information. If you haven't followed it, I don't know what you need to do. But you need to, I don't know, listen to all that. It was a lot to read, I can tell you. It was about over 2 hours. Over 2 hours. And a lot of action here that was going on the map. That I was like, okay, where are they now? So I'm going to go ahead and call it an evening. And I hope that everyone is having their snacks and their drinks and chillaxing and hopefully wearing your elfin ears or your hobbit cape or wherever you're wanting to do. It's getting heated up now where it's going to be, but what is going to happen? They may be on the way out of Rivendell. Now, who had taken up the task of the ring? And who had decided, because Bilbo couldn't do it anymore. They couldn't look at him anymore. Was it Frodo? Was it Sam? Was it Mary? Who else was there? We know Bombadil's up there. What is going on now? Who do we need to look to? Who do we need to look to? Okay, I will let you go and let you think about discussing. Good night and safe travels.